Nobody achieves very much in life with a lot of help, without a lot of help. I've had a lot of help. I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for Frederick Wakeman. He wrote the book, The Hucksters. I read this book in college. The advertising industry sounded like the most exciting business in the world. And you know what? It is. It is the most exciting business in the world. If I hadn't read that book, I'd probably be selling life insurance. I wouldn't be here tonight if I did not have the help of Jack Trout. Jack Trout was also a GE alumni. We worked together on a concept called positioning. In those days, advertising was dominated by the thinking of Bill Bernbach. Properly practiced creativity can make one ad do the work of 10. Bill Bernbach. The focus was on creativity. And you know something? Regardless of how you feel about anything, you cannot make progress in life without doing something different. Different. Not necessarily better, but different. Positioning was focused not on creativity. Positioning was focused on exactly the opposite. It wasn't focused on the message at all. Positioning was focused on the mind of the prospect. The essence of positioning is to find an open hole in the mind of your prospect. As complicated and as simple as that. And fill that open hole with your brand name. It's as true today as it was back in 1972. I say search, and you think Google. I say soy milk, and you think silk. I say electric car, and you think Tesla. I say driving, and you think BMW. I say prestige, and you think Mercedes-Benz. I say safety, and you think Volvo. Now, Bob Hetty did something else that was even more important for us. He gave me some advice, and you know something? Most people don't take advice. They don't. They argue. He said, Al, forget me. What you got to do is you got to get to know Rance Crane. That's what you got to do. Editor-in-chief of Advertising Age. So how do we get Rance Crane interested in the idea? We invited him to attend a presentation we gave on positioning, hoping he would, he's sitting right there, hoping he would mention it. Hoping he would mention it in Advertising Age, but he did more than that. He said, I'll never forget, to this day, I'll never forget, after the speech, he came up and said, Al, that would make a good article in Advertising Age. And I said, well, I'll write an article for you. He said, no, I didn't have that in mind. I want you to write a series of articles for Advertising Age magazine. I want you to write 3 articles for Advertising Age magazine. Part 1, April 1972, The Positioning Era Cometh. Part 2, Positioning Cuts Through Chaos in the Marketplace. Part 3, how to position your product. We hammered creativity. The establishment hammered us. Here's Leo Greenland, Advertising Age, shortly after those articles appeared. Is this the era of positioning? Greenland refutes stands of Trout and Ries. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. What does the media want to report? Controversy. Controversy makes news, and news builds brands. George Abrams, positioning and creativity will fail without a third element, marketing. David McCall wraps the positioner, as Trout says, strategy is king. Eugene Graham, positioning without creativity, an unfilled wish. I did not see one positive article about positioning for years after that series ran. Everybody attacked us one way or the other. Even Bill Bernbach weighed in. Creativity is not instead. In one page in Annie magazine, he mentioned positioning 7 separate times. Not favorably either. The final blow, front page of the Wall Street Journal. Not very favorable either. Matter of fact, the newspaper said a new name for an old idea. Furthermore, they said no advertising agency that ranks 103rd among agencies will know anything worthwhile about how to do advertising or how to market your product or service. 103rd ranked advertising agency. But as Andy Warhol said, don't pay any attention to what they write about you. Just measure it in inches. I wouldn't be here tonight without the help of Bill Sabin at McGraw-Hill. The positioning articles appeared in 1972, and Bill Sabin, for the next 8 years, bugged me about writing a book, and I kept saying no. No. Where would I be today, John, if I didn't write the positioning book? I'd be in the audience. I know exactly where I would be today. So thank you, Bill Sabin, wherever you are. We did the positioning book, Positioning the Battle for Your Mind. In 1981, 9 years later, I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't, well, I forget his name. I forget his name. But I was given a speech on the dangers of line extension to the audience just like that, and in the back, somebody raised their hand and said, Al, why don't you take your own advice? And that question just literally knocked me off my feet. You see, we had started as an advertising agency, but positioning became so famous that people hired us to do marketing strategy. So here's a typical Ad Age ad. We were promoting our strategy business, and we had 2 businesses, half advertising and half strategy. We were doing the thing that we were accusing other companies of doing, extending the line. So we ran another ad. Headline, Why We Are Leaving the Advertising Business, focusing on strategy and moving from New York City to Greenwich, Connecticut. The best decision we ever made, taking our own advice and narrowing the focus so we could stand for something in the mind. I wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for Simon Chang. Simon Chang is our partner in China, Ries, China. I wouldn't be here with my wife, without my wife of 49 years. And to help our business, she's had more than 49 good ideas, but I'll show you one good idea that she gave us back in the year 2000. In the year 2000, she suggested we do a 20th anniversary edition of Positioning, which we did. The book came out in 2001. This is 2006. 15 years later, they're selling 1,000 copies a month, almost 1,000 copies a month. That's incredible. We also did the 20th anniversary edition of Marketing Warfare. But you know, the thing that's most important as one gets older isn't the work they've done, isn't the people they work with. It's the family people they have lived with. And I couldn't end this presentation without mentioning my son, Charles Ries, former U.S. ambassador to Greece. He's shown in here being interviewed by the media after an embassy bombing in Athens. He's now in charge of international operations for RAND, the think tank in Washington. And our daughter, Laura Ries, who I've worked with for 20 straight years, and also the author of 2 books, one, Visual Hammer, and 2, Battle Cry. From Wakeman to Chang, I've had so much help over the years, and I thank all of them. Oh, by the way, we wrote a book on this subject. It's called Horse Sense. It's not the fastest jockey that wins the race. It's the fastest horse. So the key to success is finding a horse you can ride. And I have found my share of horses. And thank you again so much for this award.